Paul Arrigo, when I first met him, the first thing he said is, "I'm Sicilian and I know people," and stuff. We have been friends for many, many years, and just to tell you a little bit about Paul, he assumed the role of president and CEO with Visit Baton Rouge in August of 2002. Prior to that, he served as vice president of sales and marketing. He's a native of New Orleans and has over 41 years of experience in the hospitality marketing. Previously, Paul was Director of Sales and Operations for the Eastern Region for the New Orleans Metropolitan Convention and Visitors Bureau. He opened and operated the Washington, D.C. office of the New Orleans Metropolitan Convention and Visitors Bureau for 9 years. He is a member of several state, local, and international organizations and associations. He also serves as president of the Louisiana Association of Convention and Visitors Bureau on the board of directors for many local and state organizations. He and his wife, Melanie, reside in Baton Rouge and have a daughter, Lauren. Paul received his degree in marketing from the University of New Orleans. He received his certified designation marketing executive, the only certification offered by Destination Marketing Association International, in 1999. He was a recipient of the Sales and Marketing Executive 2009 Marketer of the Year. Paul also is the one that has brought a lot of business to Baton Rouge. Things such as Miss Teen USA, Miss USA, the Bayou Country Superfest, so a host of sporting events, and this is all new money into our city. He's also been instrumental in the bicentennial celebration. Even the red stick that I proudly wear today, it was his office that launched him. I think that one of the attributes and the great things about a leader is, and Paul is one, is the staff that he hires. And this staff is unbelievably extraordinary. Everyone that I've worked with over there, and you know that's a sign of such a good leader. He's also the one that helps me get championship tickets to football games and stuff. Please help give me a warm, Rotary welcome to one of our own, Paul Arrigo.
Thank you all very much. You know, Davis, two things you shouldn't have said. That Sicilian remark, which I didn't say, and the fact that I get you championship tickets because I can no longer get tickets. I did have the opportunity to speak to Rotary several years ago when we were still on Government Street. A lot has happened since then. I'm looking at my picture. I have less hair and more chins than I did last time we spoke. But Davis, thank you so very much. You are a tremendous partner, and we have a great deal of partners that we work with, obviously, DDD, Baton Rouge Area Chamber, Raising Cane's River Center, and the City of Baton Rouge, City Parish. However, we are an independent agent. We are not part of either, yet we work very closely with the city, Raising Cane's River Center, Chamber, etc. And we get a lot done that way. Thank you very much. Today we'll talk more about what Visit Baton Rouge's role is in the community. And it's a lot more than just bringing visitors to the capital city. Before we get started, though, I want to begin with a little storytelling. And storytelling is so very important in what we do in attracting visitors. Through the use of this video we launched earlier this year. Let's take a look. That's us, baby, that's us. Thank you. As you're aware, 2017 marks Baton Rouge's bicentennial year. On Monday, we announced the bicentennial postcard. Do we have a little, oh, there we go. The bicentennial postcard. This community-wide project, in collaboration with many partners, encourages you as leaders of this community and residents to invite their out-of-town friends and family to Baton Rouge. With so many events taking place this fall, this is a perfect time and a perfect year, marking 200 years as an incorporated city, to invite your out-of-town friends and family to visit Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the Red Stick. We have the postcards available at your table, postage paid, for those of you who are interested in grabbing one and inviting your out-of-town friends and family. If it's going to be your in-laws, we have hotels available at very reasonable rates. You can also find these postcards in the October issue of 225 magazine, which will hit the shelves in just a few days. The official Baton Rouge bicentennial website, BatonRouge200.com, has more information such as where to find the postcards and additional upcoming events and information during the remainder of the year. Something to be proud of, and I think it's something that we've certainly embraced in a certain way. Here's a fun fact. Visit Baton Rouge was formed 45 years ago, 1972, by the Louisiana legislature. We are governed by a board of directors that represent the tourism industry. Many of my board are members of this Rotary Club, and thank you very much. You're a fantastic board. It is our mission to increase visitation and awareness of Baton Rouge, thereby enhancing economic impact. We are a money-making machine for this community, and we thank you for your support. I'm proud to announce that Visit Baton Rouge was not only the second accredited destination marketing organization in the state to be accredited, not only the second, but the first destination marketing organization in the state to be reaccredited. It was about an 18-month process. It shows you and the rest of this community that we follow standards according to our industry. And there's a city right down the river, a lot bigger than us, that hasn't reached that accreditation. And I'm darn proud that we're an accredited organization. We've been accredited by Destinations International, our professional association. In order to achieve reaccreditation, we had to excel in the following areas. And I'm proud to say, not only did we excel, but we received high remarks, so much so that other DMOs, other destination marketing organizations, are wanting to follow our steps using us as their prototype and as their boilerplate to pursue their reaccreditation. Many of you know that being an accredited organization is no easy task for those of you who have accreditation in your own industries. You'll be hearing a lot more about this in the next couple of days, but we're very proud of that, and it means a lot to us and it means a lot to this community. Many people are familiar with Visit Baton Rouge, but not necessarily about what we do. I'm proud to say that we are accomplished an awful lot using a very talented and passionate staff of 18 persons, many of which are here today. Our administration department consists of my office as president and CEO, our vice president of administration, who handles human resources, day-to-day operations, basically the CAO of our organization. Our controller is responsible for day-to-day budgeting, financial operations, and a certain amount of fiscal operations or physical. Our special events and projects department collaborates with area industry partners to assist with planning of large-scale events, making them more tourism-driven. They work hand in hand with our partner, Baton Rouge Film Commission, in the role of scouting possible filming locations and finding accommodations for the film's talent and crew. They work closely with Sports BR, formerly Baton Rouge Sports Foundation, in putting on special events and those opening events that are so very important to the sporting world. We work very closely with Louisiana Office of Tourism in collaborating our efforts in showcasing not only Baton Rouge but this state. Both the Baton Rouge Film Commission and BR Sports, Baton Rouge Sports rather, are integral partners in what we do and are housed at our main office on 3rd and Laurel Streets in downtown Baton Rouge. Our marketing technology department handles all of our marketing, advertising, public relations, and technology upgrades and needs. We recognize the integration of technology and marketing and how important it is today. So we've got that single department handling all that. Visit Baton Rouge markets and promotes the entire parish and beyond, as a visitor doesn't realize borders. When someone visits one of our plantation homes, they think they're still in Baton Rouge, and that's fine. They also work very closely with our sales staff and our marketing staff that works in social media and content, the very important portion of what we do from a marketing point of view, technology-wise. Destination sales department, destination sales, near and dear to me. That was my start 42 years ago when I got into this industry. They work in collaboration with Sports BR to bring sporting events, such as this summer's Marucci World Series to Baton Rouge, the Women's Bowling Congress. They're also responsible for securing state, regional, national, international meetings and conventions here in Baton Rouge. And they're charged with bringing domestic and international leisure groups and individuals to Baton Rouge. We work closely with local meeting professionals and those of you who may hold leadership positions in different clubs or organizations to help us bring these conferences to Baton Rouge. On our staff, we have someone who handles minority market, Southern University market, religious. We have a person that handles those groups associated with LSU, agricultural, engineering, trade shows. We have a person that handles military, handles hobby groups, educational. So we've got every market basically covered by our sales staff, and we're in constant contact with individuals who plan conferences through a database, through day-to-day personal visitation, trade shows, meetings of meeting planners that we not only attend but often host here in the capital city. And that's why we're asking the locals to help us bring conferences and conventions to Baton Rouge. Service department, we have a destination service department, which I say keeps the promises that the sales department makes, and we under-promise and over-deliver, and that's our motto. We under-promise and over-deliver. We work directly, this department works directly with the 4 riverboat companies that will be in Baton Rouge throughout the year, with these many passengers. They come off the boat and they walk around, they say wonderful things when they get back home to Des Moines, Iowa. One, how friendly we are and how great the food is and everything else is in Baton Rouge. And that's very important that person goes back with that attitude. They work with the visitors that attend meetings and conferences here in Baton Rouge. They meet with the meeting professionals to meet their expectations and basically provide services needed, such as florists, unique meeting locations, musicians, caterers, etc. We operate 3 welcome centers and a mobile information unit you might have seen around town, named Info on the Go, INFEAUX on the GEAUX. You'll see it at LSU games, you'll see it at festivals, you'll see it throughout the community so that we can get information from our office into the hands of visitors to our great city. With visitors, they help, we have the information centers that help the visitors not only plan their trips prior to coming in, but once they visit Baton Rouge, we've got that information into their hands to make their trip more enjoyable. So again, they go back home saying a wonderful time with their head in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Now that you know what we do, or have a better understanding of what we do, let's talk about some numbers. 2016, according to Kentar TNS Visitor Profile, which was conducted by the Louisiana Office of Tourism, the Baton Rouge area welcomed over 4.3 million visitors. Think about that, 4.3 million visitors. Let's relate to sports. 4.3 million visitors. Alex Box Stadium holds about 10,000 persons, 10,000 seats. We fill that stadium every night with visitors. Every night, 4,000 visitors. They're in this town. That's 10 visitors for every citizen throughout the year. Not bad, Baton Rouge, not bad. So we know how many visitors come in. Let's take a look at what they resonate as far as money. East Baton Rouge Parish, the hospitality industry employs over 12,000 people. That's people working in our hotels, restaurants, attractions, retail, and some 400 that are at the River Center, Raising Cane River Center, employed by the Raising Cane River Center. Citizens throughout this area, all over the parish, working at the River Center and the other areas of the industry, restaurants, hotels, etc. 12,000. Pretty good numbers. 2016, visitors spent $875 million while visiting. We're approaching $1 billion industry. That's a lot of money. We don't think of us as being a destination. There it is, almost $1 billion. And just like you and me, when we go out of town on these trips, be it social visits, vacation, business, what have you, we're spending money. That's the money they're spending when they come to our community. Cities across the nation have caught on to the impact of a visitor to their city. Cities are becoming more and more competitive for the audience, and we're now competing with cities that we never thought we would compete with in the past. A large part of our visitor base is welcoming meetings, conventions, and pursuing them. In fact, one that comes to mind was in 2016. We had the Rotary International Zone training here in Baton Rouge, and if you remember, it was the Rotarians from central part of the country, from Des Moines, Iowa, and Indianapolis, and throughout the Arkansas, and what have you. And not only did they have a great time in the city, but it was great for the community, and they went back home. Leaders like you went back home to their communities, and they said wonderful things about Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and that's what we need to do, and that's the message we've got to get out to our visitors. In 2016, Baton Rouge area welcomed over 300 meetings and conventions, 300 meetings and conventions. But there's room for more, and there's availability for more. And with that comes costs of incentives to bring these meetings here, bid fees to bring conferences here, bid fees to bring sporting events here, etc. Last year, we also saw an increase in international visitation, particularly from Canada, France, Germany, and Australia. A lot of that has to do with our cooperation with the State Office of Tourism and with the direct flights to New Orleans. But I can tell you, internationals love Baton Rouge. They included as part of their trip, including New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Natchez, Mississippi, and on up. They love Baton Rouge. We've welcomed 18,000 women bowlers as part of the United States Bowling Congress. We'll have the men back in 2025. We've welcomed over 3 weekends in the summer. 3 weekends in the summer, 15,000 Jehovah's Witnesses at the Raising Cane River Center. And a few thousand athletes associated with 5 new sporting events that we brought to Baton Rouge in conjunction with Sports PR. But we know there's room for more. We believe that we can do more in attracting visitors and groups to Baton Rouge. And we're seeing now what our competitors are doing, and the competition is fierce. And the economic impact that a city receives is so very important, and everybody's starting to realize that now. So, in November, we're going to try to increase what we do. In November, there will be a ballot item for a 2% hotel occupancy increase, a dedicated tax that will increase revenue equally between Raising Cane River Center and our marketing efforts. Now, that Raising Cane River Center arena is 40 years old, and it hosts dance recitals that your kids and grandchildren go to. It hosts Mardi Gras balls, and it brings in conventions, and it brings in visitors. And Michael, you know that leak you got in the roof that we've been selling everybody, that it's indoor? It's an indoor water sculpture, but we got to get that fixed. And I want you to keep in mind, when a visitor spends time in Baton Rouge, that visitor's coming from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, Starkville, Mississippi, and other cities that spend money in Baton Rouge. When we go out of town, we're spending that additional money and that additional tax, so that's what we're going to do with that. Currently, we're receiving 3% of a 14% tax. We want to get 4% of a 16% tax, with the other percent going to the Raising Cane River Center. It helps small businesses, it helps retail, and it helps the locals feel even more pride in their community. It will bring more entertainment to Baton Rouge. When we had Elton John 2 times over the last 2 years, we not only had locals enjoy their time at the River Center, we brought in a lot of out-of-town visitors, spent money and time in Baton Rouge. Improved River Center is very important to what we do. Improving and increasing our marketing dollars will also be important. It will help us recruit talent that we've missed. and give us a look at the future, large-scale events and experiences here in the capital city. It benefits locals and visitors alike. Speaking of experiences, ours are plentiful. USA Today just announced the 5 underrated food cities in the South. 5 most underrated food cities in the South. Baton Rouge is on that list. We don't want to be an underrated city. We want to be a rated city. We don't want to be the underrated city. It's proud that we are now recognized, but we need to be recognized more as a great destination. We've known it for a long time. It's time for us to tell the world. It's time for you to show your out-of-town friends and family the pride that you have in this community, and have no qualms about inviting them to visit Baton Rouge. We're promoting our changing culinary scene in a very unique way, and we're going to show this in a second. But what I really like about this film, it showed during the 4 Saints preseason games, not just in New Orleans, but throughout the Saints network, which is all of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and I think part of Tennessee. And I had so many of my family and friends in New Orleans compliment us on it. And it's always good to get that city that thinks so much of itself to compliment us. And with that, I'd like to show that.
There's something about the landscape here, and my greatest joy is going into that landscape, finding the raw materials, bringing them to the cast iron pot, and then taking them to the world. Here on the banks of the Mississippi River, 7 different nations showed up at one time. They animated their cuisine, their cultures, their flavors, to create the mixtures that could not have been done anywhere else in the world at that time. So you could throw something back on. What's happening in Baton Rouge now is an explosion of a young culinary dynamic here. They still want the spice of our food, they still want the local ingredients, they still want the wow in the plate, but now they want it to be their own wow.
The chefs at Baton Rouge love to please the palate. A lot of times it's almost magical, the small tweaks, the small twists, the extra ingredient here, extra ingredient there, that they're inspired to create something that hasn't been created before.
All I want you to do is open your mind up to a different way of eating. And I want to challenge anyone. Get outside of your norm. Try eggplant, try some shrimp, try some redfish, try some of anything that we grow, and you'll like it.
And I think Baton Rouge is one of those places that is worth finding in Louisiana. There's a food scene here and a food culture here that is hard to duplicate.
There's just no doubt about it that this is a place where food is created and is created differently from anywhere else in the world, because it just couldn't happen anywhere else. We love people, and we love to show them our food.
It has been a pleasure, my fellow Rotarians. Let's love this city like it should be loved. I'll be very happy to answer any questions. I ran through this rather quick to make room for this. Yes?
Where does that put us in terms of tax base, for competitive cities?
That's a good question. Thank you, Ann. We will be slightly above. I think Shreveport would be 15.6. We would be 16. Lake Charles is 15. Some of these cities get more of a percentage of that total tax. Therefore, Shreveport has a considerably higher budget than us. Lake Charles is almost equal to us. It will be considerably lower than Knoxville, Tennessee, where we will all go in October and November. It will be lower than Omaha, where we hope we go every year. The tax is one thing. Where we are as far as a budget-wise, because of the smaller percent that we get out of the entire tax. When someone stays in a hotel, that tax is divided all kinds of ways. As a result, our budget is, I think, a little bit lacking. We can do some wonderful things with that, particularly from a marketing point of view, when it comes to bringing in the sporting events that we need to bring in to fill the hotels throughout the whole community, because they don't have meeting space. We need hotels filled that don't have meeting space. Meetings will help fill those that have meeting space. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Oh, there's my friend Beth. Beth's going to help me bring Antique Roadshow back here. It took us 15 years the first time. We're going to bring it back. That and Thomas the Train. That's a promise, right?
Thank you very much, and also want to thank you for your help with taking John Folse's cooking show, which we've done probably 120 of them all across the country, and that's why he's really well known, because he airs all across the country, and it's something we can be proud of. So thank you for your help with that. But I actually now I'm going to ask a reporter question. And when I was looking at the visitors, I was wondering if you counted or had to offset any for all of the insurance people, the FEMA people, all the people, because 2016 was an unusual year for Baton Rouge because of the flood.
Thank you. That is correct. The numbers that came in on 16 actually came as a result of the State Office of Tourism through their methodology. I can tell you that along those lines, we also had the Women Bowling Congress. We had a lot of people in town. And obviously, the amount of rooms that were used was increased. How many more came in as a result, it would be hard to tell, but I can tell you that year to year we have increased. Going back to the Folse thing, what's so exciting about that is the longevity that series has, and how important it reaches the person that is so interested in the culinary experience that they can have here. Thank you very much.
I'm going to ask, can you say something just a little bit about, for instance, not thinking business, but like my son's getting married, so I have family coming in. So instead of going to the hotel, I called Visit Baton Rouge. So can you say something about that?
Oh, you did? Well, thank you very much. We have, are working on right now, Karen, are we working on it? We have completed that. We recognize the value of weddings in Baton Rouge and what it brings as far as out-of-town visitation and expenditures. And we're going to be putting together on our website, and we will be having someone that will handle that particularly. You know, we know that mothers of brides have a lot going on in their minds, and they can certainly call us in regard to locations, hotel accommodations, etc. And that's visitbatonrouge.com.
What kind of impact does Airbnb have?
Okay. Very good question. Airbnb is what we have to live with. It's about 20% of New York accommodations, not quite as much here in Baton Rouge. We have some outstanding Airbnbs. We have some outstanding B&Bs, one of which is operated by a lovely young lady who has one right there in Beauregard Town. She follows the rules. She collects the tax from the visitor, and she pays the tax to the city. She collects the tax from the visitor. She pays the tax to where it should go. She also goes under certain rules and regulations, including fire codes, etc. That's a problem. That's a problem. And what concerns me is becoming more and more popular. I think Airbnbs are wonderful. It's becoming more and more popular. The next thing you know, people are going to be running restaurants out of their houses. Then what? Okay, and they're not regulated. If it's regulated, if they play by the rules, I think it's a wonderful addition to the product, particularly to the millennials. I want to thank you all so very much. God bless.